Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Making It Together live educational event. We're excited to be with you again today, and we've made it to the end of the month. So today is Thursday, April 30th, and this will be our last event for this month, of course, but we have another exciting jam-packed schedule of education planned for next month as well. So we'll announce that a little bit later, probably tomorrow, when we'll be going live next month, but myself and Jenna will still be coming to you from our home studios, and we also will be doing tons of webinars, and those are all can be found on our events page over on stalls.com, which includes the Stalls and Transfer Express events. So I'm Josh Ellsworth with Stalls. If this is your first time watching our videos, we want to welcome you in. We know there is a lot of new folks that are looking to get into the industry, to start t-shirt businesses. We're talking to more and more on the phone every day because frankly, a lot of people are at home from their day job, their normal day job, and they're thinking, what's the next move for me? And so we want to welcome you to our community. I know we have some of our regular followers that are watching here today. I got a UPS package that's delivering right now from Transfer Express. I just saw the guy walking down from the window. So I'm excited about that. That's a product I'm going to show you tomorrow that is with our party in the USA is what we called it. So you guys probably got a kick out of the image of me dressed up in Americana clothes. They did a little Photoshop work on me, but we have this great launch event planned tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern that will come to you live on Facebook. We'll also broadcast out to YouTube. That will be launching a new heat transfer vinyl product that I just have been working with and I love, and you guys are going to love it too. It's called Ultra Weed, and I'll show you all about that product and take your questions and talk about what it means to your business. And then also we'll be talking about a new product from Transfer Express, actually a new way to sell a current product that just delivered to me, and I think you're going to love that. I'll explain what that means to your business and when you should use it. And then also we may have even a little bit of a launch from Dane Clement from Great Dane Graphics that I'll be able to announce to you. So I'm just trying to bring a lot of news to you all and make it a fun Friday. And so make sure you join me for that. So good to see you, Sharon. Thanks for joining today. Mike, good morning. Craig, always good to see you. Freddie, good to see you. Watching from YouTube. Sam, Carol, Jim, Deborah, we got folks from Canada, North Carolina, Oregon. All of our regulars are on, and we thank you so much for your loyalty and joining us all the time. And we have shared the link to that Party in the USA event in our Facebook streams if you didn't see that. Otherwise, just mark your calendar for 1 o'clock tomorrow and you'll see it wherever you're watching today. It'll broadcast there as well. So for today's projects, when was it? Tuesday. We had that Q&A session, and our main project was based on a question from one of our customers, one of you all, that wanted to know, how can I create a look like this? What would you recommend? And so we kind of did that on the fly together, and we created a design, and we cut the design, and we made this sort of dog strong or bulldog strong design on this shirt. If I had to do over again, I think I gave him too much of a haircut, so I'm down into the face of the bulldog. So I probably would have dropped my clip art down so you could still make out that it's definitely a bulldog. But overall, we showed you techniques for being able to really play into the garment, the seam structure, the collar, everything. And I think a couple big things about doing stuff like this is you create a look that can't be emulated as easy by your competition. And really, it plays to the advantages of a heat press. So I've often said it's what you can make with a heat press is a big deal, but also where you can place logos and how you can place logos. So the ability to go over seams, to go in or around collars or pockets, or hit just really unique print locations that would be very tough to execute with having to hoop the garment and sew it. So when you're competing with embroidery work, or also to be able to do it with screen printing, drag that screen, making sure that the squeegee comes down clean and you get good contact and good print quality. And those are very difficult things to do. And so the heat press plays really well in that space. And the more I thought about it, I wanted to take a deeper dive into some of those projects. I had one day where I was broadcasting live where I just had a comedy of errors and mistakes. But today it's a little bit different. I'm actually going to try to see if I can mess up. I don't want to mess up, but I'm pushing myself and my limits, and I'm going to try at least one or two things today that I haven't tried before, and we'll see if it works live on air. So I enjoyed doing that with you. So good to see you, Six Toe. Thanks for watching as well. Also, Jenilyn watching from Texas. We have a good crew on today, so let's head over to the heat press and make some stuff. Now, in the process of this, I always like to, different tips come about in my mind as we're going through this, but one thing I did have planned is to talk about several different types of heat transfers today. And we had a question on Facebook yesterday that really alluded to the fact that screen printed transfers can be costly at low quantities. And so I think, I wanted to share this grid with you one more time, and it'll take me just a second to pull it up here. This grid, it's a what to use when grid that we publish and we've done some education around. And so really when you talk about what you can do with your heat press, there are a lot of different transfer types, in air quotes, that fall under the umbrella of heat printing. And so 4 of those big core categories are up on the screen. That is heat transfer vinyl, digital transfers, which are print cut, is what I like to position there as a durable, high quality option. Screen printed transfers down in the bottom left, and then full color screen printed transfer, which I've talked a lot about. We won't press one of those today, but I've done plenty. Our product called Stretch Litho Matte. And so when you go across the top of that grid and you look at the number of colors in your designs, and then you take your finger and you kind of match it up on the X and Y axis with the garment quantity, you will land in a technology bucket. And while this isn't foolproof, there's always exceptions to the rule. I think 90% of the time, 95% of the time, this is going to get you to the right heat transfer product for the job. So something really cool about this is under the Stahls umbrella, whether that's Stahls or Transfer Express, we can provide you with multiple products under each of these categories. And I think really as an apparel decorator, if you want a lean model, you want to be able to print as cost effectively as possible with just a heat press, you're going to need to access all of these to be able to make maximum profit. So I wanted you to see that. And as we look at our designs that we'll be pressing today, teach you a little bit about the transfer selection process. Now, of course, I'll be doing one-offs today. This is a jacket that I pulled. I think it's a newer jacket. It's from Pennant Sportswear, who is one of my favorite blank apparel providers for trendy stuff. We don't talk about them a whole lot on the show, but they always have really cool stuff, especially in the category of outerwear and fleece. You see a lot of nice stuff. And so this is a 100% polyester jacket. It's kind of like a very lightweight windbreaker style. I think they had another style that they called an anorak jacket. This is similar to that. And the style number on this is style 2517. Okay. And so we're going to be printing this item, but rather than just printing your traditional left chest print location, we're going to explore a little bit. And we've created a design to go down here right above the pocket area. So anytime you're dealing with seams, zippers, and this sort of structure, this heat printing pillow is your friend, as long as you're not pressing screen printed transfers. If you're pressing anything in that vinyl bucket or that digital transfer print cut bucket, you can feel free to use a heat printing pillow whenever you want, because you don't need an extremely high pressure when you're pressing those objects. So I'm just going to lay my pillow on, and I'm going to thread my jacket on to get to the print location. And I've said it before, but just for those of you that may not have heard me talk about it, one thing I love about decorating jackets is they have a super high value to them. You can charge a nice price for a jacket, and that nice price means nice profit, because typically when you're decorating a higher end item, there's more room for profit. If you're decorating a $10 basic t-shirt, it costs you something to make, so there's only so much profit room in there per shirt. But if you can change your sales pitch and delivery to include higher end items like this, really with the heat press, it takes the same amount of time to decorate it. You're still going to apply, 15 seconds at 300 degrees or whatever it is. And all the science is built into the transfer formula. And so the product I want to talk about here, this is a full color transfers. This would fall under the digital transfer category. It's kind of tough to see on the screen, but it does have a glitter to it. So this is a digital based glitter material. We call it CAD Prints Glitter Flake. And so the digital transfers are particularly good at certain quantities. So just to flip over to my grid real quick, if this were for a dance team, which it is, we may have only a dozen or 18 pieces, depending on how large the team is. And this particular design is 3 colors. And so, and we want the glitter effect. So if I go up to 3 colors, about 12 designs, you end in that digital transfer category. Now, as I mentioned, there are exceptions. Glitter is an exception. You can't necessarily get glitter in a bunch of different products, and you certainly wouldn't want to cut and layer 3 layers of glitter like this. It'd take a lot more time than just ordering it made for you and positioning it onto the garment. And so I'm going to center this off of the zipper here, and I'm going to place it a little bit lower down to the pocket next to the seam. And the benefit here is now all of those seams, the zipper structure, I don't even have to worry about getting them off the press. They're just going to sink down in, and I'm going to follow the application for CAD Prints Glitter Flake. So, and that is approximately 300 degrees for 10 to 15 seconds. So I'll lock that down. And I'll talk to you a little bit about how you can get this product. One is you can buy it by the roll. We call it CAD Color Glitter Flake. That's our print cut material. And if you have a solvent or eco-solvent printer, you can print this product yourself. You can buy it by the roll, print all the color down with usually CMYK ink that comes with the printer. And then you can also cut it and then use this masking material to put it down on top of your image, which lifts your whole image off the backing and makes your transfer. Now, those printer cutters, typically for a good one, that's going to be versatile for you and good for the business, going to cost about $10,000 or so. And so a lot of people don't have that to sink in their business, especially right now. And so we can do the service for you at stalls.com. We call it CAD Prints Glitter Flake. And so you upload the logo on stalls.com through our artwork uploader, and I'll give you a peek at what that looks like here in a little bit. And then basically it comes to you just like I received it, where it's ready to heat apply. So here we have that nice glitter texture coming into the product. We've hit a unique print location on the jacket, kind of matched it to the colors of the sleeves. And, it's really not that complicated. It's just simple. And that's the cool thing about heat printing is sometimes you can get a cool look, a unique placement next to the seam on the pocket of this jacket just by having the right technique. And so sometimes it's good to be easy and not have a whole lot of complexity into what you're doing, but we're going to turn it up a notch as well on the complexity. So let me see. There's some questions coming in. Yeah. So great thing about Stahl's product is the mask really works on the glitter. Yeah. So we carry what's called, there's a medium tack mask and a high tack mask. If you're having a problem when you're making your own glitter transfers and lifting them up, go to the high tack mask. It's super grippy and sticky, and there's nothing it won't pick up. Actually, you'll make a lot of noise when you're separating it from the carrier, but we do have a lot of great choices there. And then Kevin asks, how many washes can this withstand? So when we are using our heat transfer products, including this product, we always recommend them for 50 cycles. I will say when you're dealing with print cut products, you need to be aware of what type of ink you are laying down. If we're printing it for you, expect the 50 wash durability because of the ink we're using in our process. There are some ink sets out there. There's a lot of third-party ink on the market. We've tested our stuff specifically with Roland inks to guarantee the durability. All right. And then I got a question here on what's the cost of the transfer? And I assume that's if you order it from us. So I will run through a little upload process later to answer that question. But I also say if our team members could share a link to the Stahl's catalog, I'll pull that up a little bit later in the show and walk you through where to find this and how to calculate the cost of this category that we call CAD prints. All right. And then a question says, is it true that the glitter roll doesn't work with the TrueViz ink? So this is a tough one, but there is Roland has released an update to their TrueViz ink. I believe it's called their TR2 inks. And those are the inks that we're currently selling now at stalls along with the printers. And so we do recommend it for durability there. We do recommend machine wash cold on the glitter. So you don't want to machine wash it hot. It'll make the color fade a little bit more. But for a time, there was the TrueViz inks that were on the market, the initial generation that had durability issues on this glitter that we saw. And so we actually went as far as to pull that printer for a time from our site because we were having some concerns there. And for everybody that we sold that printer, we are in the process of awaiting updates from Roland to be able to get their machine where it needs to be to print our products. But definitely the glitter that we're going to print for you is going to be fine and durable. All right. And then hello from Sweden. Good to see you. Learn more about print cut later. So we have some good videos on print cut on our YouTube page that you can go through, but we'll talk a little bit more as we go through some more projects here. All right. And I'll come back to some of these some of these questions. One I do want to answer right now is how heavy does it feel on the garment, right? And so this is more of, I think, a design issue. Of course, it's glitter, so it feels about the same thickness as the normal glitter flake. What's really going to feel bad is if you put a really large coverage area design on a super lightweight garment. So you want to use a little bit of common sense, have some breathe through areas and some show through areas like we have here where it's weeded out inside the design. So you still get a lightweight feel. It's definitely glitter and it's textured, which is some of the appeal of it. But just be careful about putting a big blob across the front of the garment. So hopefully that answers your question. Feels similar to glitter flake for sure. Okay. All right, let's move on to our next project that I want to show. Let's see where I'm going from here. This one, I mentioned it yesterday or Tuesday, sorry, when we were talking, is to do a wraparound print. This is another garment that was sent in by Pennant Sportswear, one of their trending items. It's style 1129, and it has I'm guessing a dip dyed or a fully sublimated front to it. It's probably sublimation. You can see the ombre effect and the striping that you're getting there. And so anytime you see a garment like this where it has a pattern or something on it, you have to worry about, is that going to bleed through my print? And you have to take special print considerations anytime you see that. And so at Stalls, we carry a product called Silicone Dye Block. That's a heat transfer vinyl product. It's actually a silicone base. So if you've ever felt like the brand insignias on some of the Nike and Under Armour garments, this one's embroidered, but some of the ones that are out there, you'll feel like a rubbery texture to it. This silicone product has that rubbery texture, which a lot of people like. It can be bought in a roll and cut on a vinyl cutter, or we can cut it for you. But the other benefit of it is we call it a dye block. So silicone by nature, with how the ink works, does great against sublimated fabric. So it actually allows the dyes to sublimate through, and then they clear, and you get basically white stays white, and you don't have to worry about that bleeding. And so let me load that on for you. And I wanted to do a wraparound print because I talked about that the other day. And the technique's pretty easy. I'm going to go over this side seam and overlap, but I'm just going to split and thread that onto the press. Anytime you're doing sublimation, I have my pillow in here, not for sublimation, but because of that seam that I'm going around. Anytime you're doing sublimation, you want to be careful that you use a cover sheet so you don't get your inks bleeding on top into your heat press. I already had my pressure set before, so I'm just giving it a little preheat. And now we're going to take this oversized logo that's designed for like a brand, and we are just going to run it completely down the side of the shirt on a diagonal. And that way we get a little bit of the cool branding on the front of the shirt, and we get a little bit of cool branding onto the back of the shirt. So you see that print location when somebody's walking on both sides. And the silicone product, my cover sheet's going to cheat more to the sublimated side than the non-sublimated side of the garment. This is another one that applies at about 300 degrees for 10 to 15 seconds. Most of the product applies there. This is a cold peel. And so when it says cold peel, I need to let it cool completely down, not just warm, completely down before I remove the carrier. All right, so I have that print location, and then on this garment, I have another just small logo that I wanted to apply to it to complete the look. So let me just carefully slide this off, and then we will do that. Let's do it at the back neckline here. I'm using the Hotronics Auto Open Press. I know since we started this, a lot of you have invested in new heat presses after you see how easy it is across a wide variety of projects. And so this is my favorite press for my uses because I'm in a small space here, and it allows me to do everything I need to. So I'm just going to put a small little brand logo. This is cool. So this is something that just can be cut from the waste of the product. The idea is this would mean something to the brand. So take some element of the brand or the team that you're decorating for and see if you can sell into another placement location. Then even better, if you can hit a unique location that's just not easy for somebody else to bid against you and duplicate. So one thing that I like to focus on in sales a lot is what's called a value proposition. And the premise of a value proposition, it's a term in business that says, what is the unique value that I can bring to a customer that they will care about, that, enhances their brand, either solves a problem or delights them in some way that matters to them, that is unique to me, that other people aren't going to be able to compete with. So sometimes you can do that. And I messed this up. I'm going to show you. Said I wanted to make a mistake. Well, I sure did. Sometimes you can do that by placement on a garment, even just how your garments look and how you brand them and how you sell them. Sometimes you can do that in other ways. But I really think people buy apparel for style. They buy it for branding, whether it's a team or a group, a church, company, doesn't really matter. People put designs on apparel because they want them to be seen, and more than be seen, they want them to be remembered. And so if you can somehow create some memorable location for that sponsor logo or whatever it might be, and be different than everybody else, and hopefully at some point even have some data that says this is a higher recall rate, or you get more impressions by decorating this many locations on a garment, put some analytics behind it, I think you can really create some cool opportunities to be able to sell. So hopefully we're able to get a good look at this. So you can see I have half of the design printed on front. It's a pretty large garment, so it's tough to show. And then that is wrapping around to the back. So there's the whole thing. You can see how it crosses over, and we're getting no bleeding coming through on that print location. We're also getting good contact even where the seams were, because I used the pillow and I did increase the pressure a little bit. I also have really good adhesion here. Now, the mistake that I made, I bet you guys know it, some of you, I'm taking shortcuts here, is I used, you see where it's a little bit darker there on this side where I'm moving it versus this side. I used that cover sheet on the front that picked up all that sublimation ink, and I used the same one on the back. And polyester accepts sublimation ink. So in fact, I transferred ink from the garment, from the front of it that you see there, to the back of the garment on this job, and ruined a shirt. So when you're doing sublimated fabrics, you probably want to look for a more disposable style of cover sheet. Feel free to share your ideas on what you use, because I know a lot of you do sublimation. I don't think we necessarily have the best cover sheet for high volume sublimation at stalls, but I know some have used parchment paper, butcher paper. There's a lot of different things that can be used that is more low cost and disposable. All right. Juan, sorry, man. I was rolling here and I didn't look back for the questions. Tried to warn me. Probably many of you did, because so I appreciate that. Unfortunately, you can't talk to me, and I missed the heads up. So that's a completed job. Still looks good and teaches the concept. All right, let me look back for questions. What cutters can be used to cut the silicone die block? Any vinyl cutter. It's the one that I showed you is 200 microns thick. And so that means it's about the equivalent of glitter flake, maybe slightly thicker. And you really shouldn't have any issues cutting that and weeding that on any vinyl cutter. Yeah, so butcher paper from Sam's for sublimation, butcher paper here. So thanks for the feedback there. Yeah, and I think the wraparound print is cool. It's something different that helps a brand stand out. You guys are all having fun at my expense. That's what it's all about. All right. And then Sharon says newsprint paper on Amazon by the roll works perfect. Yeah. So another great idea. And Cassandra uses roll of craft paper from IKEA. So those are some ideas for different cover sheets. We do sell the cover sheets at stalls, the craft paper that has the sort of siliconized surface, which is really good for our normal transfers. But I think you want something a little cheaper and more disposable if you're doing a lot of sublimation. And yeah, so our friends over at Target love silicone for weeding. We do as well. It doesn't have a sticky backing, so it's really easy to weed. Just want to watch the super fine details on it. All right, so that's another project. Let's move to the next one. Let's see. So on this one, I mentioned this concept the other day. I'm just going to take a pocket t-shirt. This one is from Boxercraft. The pocket tee, I don't think they list the style number on it, but there's a lot of different pocket t-shirts that are on the market. This one's 58 polyester, 38% cotton, 12% rayon. So we call that a tri-blend. That means it has cotton, poly, and rayon. And the advantage of a tri-blend is you get a lot softer feel when you're wearing it. And I think it's a better fit and a more premium style. So part of selling into the market is knowing your apparel blanks. And if you can talk about the apparel blanks intelligently and what a tri-blend is, what a ring spun cotton is, I think you can really also separate yourself in the sales experience. Now, don't get worried. This isn't scorching. This is 50% cotton. So just for any of our newbies out there, when you press your first red, maroon, pink, 100% cotton shirt or 50% cotton shirt, it is going to get dark because you're pulling moisture out of the garment when you're preheating it. That's why we preheat, to remove moisture and wrinkles. And so when that moisture returns back to the garment, which may take 20 or 30 minutes after it's pressed, it will be back to its normal color, and you can deliver it to a customer, or you can mist it or something as well if you want to do it quicker because you're printing and want to deliver it right away without them seeing that. But either way, I preheated. I got my pocket up here, and I'm going to stick, I think, let me choose between two things. So here are my choices. I'll show you both of them. So this one, I actually had two up on this. It's you guys have probably seen this design by now, class of 2020. Senior is the one where they graduate or the one where they were quarantined. So you can figure out, this was before everybody was quarantined. We had this, so I grabbed it out of our studio. But this is print cut. Again, why do we use print cut? Well, look at the number of colors in that design. We have all the different colored dots, plus we have the black and the white. And so we do a print cut because it's high color count. If you had volume of this, if you were doing a whole senior graduating class and it were 100 or more kids and everybody ordered the shirt, then I would look back here. And once it hits like that 75 point, at least as far as where I'm broadcasting today, you'll hit that full color screen printed transfers, and that's where you would go to stretch litho matte. But if you're down in, you're just doing 12 of these for a small group of seniors, it's about 4 colors. You're going to be in that print cut transfer like we've created it today. So they all fit together. They look similar. It's just a matter of what you use. So originally I was going to do this design, which is another glitter design. And I was going to trim it to fit around the pocket. I think it would look really good, but I just gave the tip on how something feels on the garment, and that's probably not going to feel good on this lightweight tri-blend garment. So aesthetically, I think it's going to look good, and it would be perfect for like a hoodie or a fleece or some style like that, but it's probably not going to feel good. So we're going to go ahead and try this one and see what we can come up with. So what I wanted to do was trim it to the pocket and position it down so it looks like the text is actually going into the pocket. So I'm not going to pay too much attention to the pocket at first. I'm just going to center my design and position it down where I would normally place it. And this one actually may have an extra element of humor because of the whole, it says with the one where they graduate, and that's kind of been, they'll graduate, but the experience has been cut off. Now I'm going to take my scissors and basically right where this is running into the pocket line, which is right here, I'm going to trim. And so you may say, well, why wouldn't you just cut it that way in the artwork? Well, all pockets are a little bit different. If you've ever decorated shirts with pockets, you know it's not a really good indicator for location, because depending on the manufacturer, they can be crooked, they can be in different places, sometimes not the exact same size, depending on how the fabric's folded over for sewing. So I like to make my adjustments on the shirt. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim this off. Just take my scissors, only take me a second, and kind of conform to the pocket shape like a wraparound. And then I'll have my design. It looks like the rest of my design is inside of the pocket. Use your discretion on design. And then we're going to heat press it. I lost the use of my cover sheet, and I don't have another one in sight. So we're going to rock without a cover sheet right now. Oh, Silas. Good to see you today, Silas. Look at Silas here from Zimbabwe. That's pretty cool. After you heat press it, you're just going to peel the backing. And then again, it's not going to look so hot right now because of the mark, but you can see the concept where we put the design and we trimmed really close to the pocket to be able to hit that location. Now, I will say another reason print cut works here is because I'm using the pillow. Vinyl works really good with the pillow. A screen printed transfer, you may not want to use the pillow. You may have some adhesion issues. The other thing that I want to point out is when you're going this close to seams and pockets, increase your pressure slightly to make sure you get good contact and inspect your work. So if you look really close here, this doesn't have the best adhesion right here. It's kind of lifting up right next to that pocket. That's because there's been a dropout in pressure there, and I didn't have enough pressure on my press to be able to do the job. So that's not a big deal. It's stuck enough for me to be able to load that back on, cover it with the cover sheet. Got a small one here, see if it'll fit. It does. And then I'm just going to increase my pressure and drive a little bit more pressure into it. So even with all that pressure increase, I'm still only at like a 6 on the machine because I'm using the heat printing pillow. So I'm going to run it for another full application because I don't have confidence that it's stuck there. But with the additional pressure, yeah, we get a much better result. So now I have really good full contact, even right against that seam. So just little technique based things. And I think you can take these techniques and you can use your creativity and apply them to whatever you want to do. All right, let me look for some questions real quick before I have 2 more projects for us today, and we're running good on time, so I can take some questions. Yeah, so I've melted my fair share of tri-blend screen printing, turned them into shrinky dinks. So if anybody's ever done shrinky dinks, my daughter has the kit, and they color them and then they shrink up when you put them through the little oven that really looks like a screen printing dryer. So yeah, if it's running at too hot of a temperature, you can lose a lot of the size by running that through hot dryer sometimes, even not even in the screen printing process, but a home dryer. So you got to be careful about that. And that's why usually when we're doing tri-blends, we like to be at 300 degrees or less so we don't leave a permanent scorch mark. All right. I see a question, or it must be in response to another question. Yeah, the colors are really popping on the Red Hawks transfer. Yeah, so this was printed. It was just the color selection. The other one didn't look as bright. And I believe this particular one is sublimated. So that's some of the secret sauce here. When we make some of these for you, is we can actually sublimate the glitter and you get a little bit more pop in your glitter colors than if you were just doing them with print cut. All right, I see some other conversations happening, but not specific questions. Where can we get the what to use when? So hopefully our team moderating can help with that. I know we have links to it and different options where you can grab it from the website. Also, feel free to go back to this video after we're done and screenshot it if you want. Yep, and rayon doesn't like high heat. All right, here we go. This is another one, kind of off topic, but I'll still take it. The leg sleeve platen that is made for the Fusion won't work on the autoclam. I know there's a platen for the autoclam, but I like the length of the Fusion platen. So the platen that's made for the Fusion will in fact fit the autoclam, but because of the footprint underneath, it's a little bit wider, probably not going to be able to split and load your long pant legs or sleeves on that 6x20 platen, which is a really nice length and thickness. So you're right. We do the double leg and sleeve platen, which is a little narrower. I don't remember the exact size. I want to say it's like 4.5 by 18 or 4 by 18, where you can actually load 2 sleeves at once, but you lose some of the print area. So that's one of the trade-offs with the autoclam versus the Fusion, is you're a little bit limited on sleeves and legs for your print area. The other option is you can stuff it with the Teflon pillow, with our heat printing pillows, and maybe just lay it on top of the press for application. All right, and Mike's going to try to sublimate on a Bella Tri-Blend Heather Royal in about 20 minutes. Should be interesting. So yeah, the thing about sublimating on Tri-Blends is the chemistry of sublimation, it's going to stick only to the poly content. And so the more cotton that's in your garment, as long as it's grouped with poly, something will adhere. That ink will dye the polyester fibers, but you're going to have a little bit more of a washed out image. A lot of times that's okay, and use that to your advantage. You can create vintage looking designs by sublimating Tri-Blends, but don't expect to get, corporate colors to pop for a brand logo on that garment. But yeah, break the rules, experiment. That's what we like to do, and that's what makes you a capable, confident decorator that can answer the questions and do the jobs and understand what you're doing when customers come to you. All right, and then one more question right now, and I'm going to take 2. Is reflective still popular? Absolutely, more popular now than we've ever seen it, because it's popular in both fashion. It was coming on for fashion in 2019 and still continues, but we're also seeing a ton of reflective moving right now for some of the essential industries that are open here, at least in the US market, like police, fire, safety, emergency responders, even grocery, food delivery drivers. So a ton of growth happening right now in reflective products. And last question is, what do I recommend for neck labels? This question actually came up yesterday in one of our Facebook groups. If you have the volume, I recommend a screen printed transfer, because you're never going to want to cut and weed a neck label, at least if you're putting all the sizing info and fabric content, etc. And if I had my pick on a screen printed transfer and you have the volume, it would be AquaTrue. And so that will transition us nicely into AquaTrue, which is the product I'm going to try to break the rules with now. So I'm going to try to do this jacket. I did one of these jackets like way early on, and I liked it because this is a Port Authority jacket. It's from Sanmar. It looks like the puffy style coats that have been popular, but it doesn't have the filling in it, so you don't have that melting issue, but it's still a nice piece that's very warm. Now, typically, we don't recommend, and I might get killed for this, but we don't recommend screen printed transfers with a pillow. If I want to put a screen printed transfer on this, which I do because I want to try something, I have 2 choices. I can either get rid of the pillow and try to just fight through that seam, or I can try to use the pillow with an extremely higher pressure so it does sink down in, but it kind of levels out my print area a bit more. Now, what I'm going to first say is that this will not be a lab certified recommendation. This is me experimenting with you and trying new things and trying to help you. And so I'm going to use the pillow for this, but I'm going to increase my pressure substantially. I'm also going to use AquaTrue. AquaTrue is great, has many uses, sticks to nylon, sticks to poly, has good stretch to it, is a water-based transfer. It's just a phenomenal product. We screen print it with water-based ink onto a clear carrier like this. It's a really large sheet, so you can fit a lot of designs up. And it comes to you like this, ready to heat apply, and it's a hot feel. So one of my absolute favorite products that we have. The only trade-off with it is there is a certain order quantity that you have to get to make it cost-effective and feasible for both us and you. And so keep that in mind. But if you were doing a promo product like this and doing a large volume, the other reason I'm not
as worried about using a pillow on this is because I'm really not worried about wash durability that much, because it's a jacket. Jackets aren't washed 50 times. Usually my jackets I may wash, half a dozen times max across the life of the jacket. Some jackets once or twice. And so I'm going to load this jacket on. Gosh, I wish I could use my cover sheet. I'm going to use it and just make the sacrifice. Know that dye may sublimate, but I want to use it just to protect my heat press at this point from anything that may go wrong here. So let's get you a closer look. I'm covering it with cover sheet. I've just loaded it with a pillow. I'm going to spend some time to increase my pressure a little bit. It's a little bit too much. And I'm looking for the readout here. So nothing's showing on the pressure readout, which means I've exceeded the limitations of the machine. I at least want to get that back to where it's showing a 9, which is the absolute highest pressure that I can do. So that's another benefit of the Hotronix machines, is you get the digital pressure readout. Now, a long time ago, I saw a cool technique with a screen printed transfer that one of our reps at Transfer Express showed me. And that was the idea of applying the transfer over a zip up hoodie. And it didn't have all this extra structure. And then immediately after pressing, unzipping the hoodie to split the ink and being able to get perfect coverage edge to edge. So I'm going to see which one of these transfers will fit for me. Probably going to have to take some take on this one. So let me trim out the medium one. And so this is inspired by Riverside Hospital. So this could be like a nurse's appreciation, something like that. So I'll save that design for another print location on the jacket. Going to trim this one. And here's my design that I just want to stretch across the top. I'd like to get that heart pretty close to a left chest design. I'm going to put it a little further over. And then I'm just going to go ahead and trim this, since it won't all fit, and just lose some of my transfer. It's no big deal. And that creates my design. Now I have a little strap here that I'm going to get rid of on the zipper. The zipper is fully zipped up. I not only have the main zipper, but I have the pocket zipper. So this is going to be fun to ruin probably. I'm going to position the design, and I'm going to break the rules by using the cover sheet. Let's look over at our application instructions from transferexpress.com. Just give me 1 second to find the right window here. All right, so over on transferexpress.com, I'm going to go to the AquaTrue Transfer, which is under the heat transfer category, and then under water-based. And then anytime you click into the product, you can get the application instructions if you just scroll down. So this is normally 275, 12 to 15 seconds. I'm up at 300. So I'm going to run it for the 300, and I'm going to do the 12 seconds. And then, of course, it's a hot peel, and we're breaking the rules already on pressure. But I'm going to try to get that medium to firm pressure as much as I can. So let's do our 12 seconds. And then we'll cross our fingers and apply, making sure nobody's trying to save me. Use the zipper to split the transfer design. Sounds dangerous. It is. We're living on the edge today. This is as crazy as I get, guys. So let's lock that down and see what happens. I'm going to hot peel right away, and then I'm going to unzip and see if we can split that transfer. Hot peel worked. Split there worked. Yeah, baby. All right. That was pretty cool. So let's take a look at what we created. You can see, let's see if I can get that good. It's been heat applied. Not getting good here. Let me zip it back up for you. So when it's heat applied, it looks like it's perfect just right over that zipper. And we even have the pocket zipper that you see right here on this side. And then full use of the zipper over the ink without any impact. If you're wondering where I got the third hand, I did like the jacket to hold it up to show you. But you can see that is really cool. So something interesting. And again, we can experiment with that. We can do that on zip up jackets. We can push the limits. We can do that over just zip up areas of pockets. When you think of jacket constructions, you get some zip ups down on the side for some pockets. So you can even try it over there with some unique branding and mix and match and combine some of the concepts that we've done here today. The reason I'm using I see some of you guys want me to use the cover sheet upside down. I'd rather use ruin my jacket, which is going to go to Goodwill, instead of ruining my heat press and having to spend time cleaning this, even though it is Teflon coated and can easily be wiped. Just saves me the inconvenience. That's why I keep using the bad side of the cover sheet. And at this point, most of this ink is not coming off because it's already transferred over at these low temperatures. All right, one more thing we're going to try here. Yeah, so the zipper thing is really cool. Glad you guys enjoyed that. That was a Port Authority jacket from Sanmar. If our team members know the link to that, if you could share it, that would be awesome. See if I can find the style number. J850, J850, I believe is the style number of that jacket. And let me take some other questions. How do you clean your platen? So usually when I can, I just use water. And so I'll brush it down when it's warm. Of course, being very careful is usually when I clean the platen. If you get some gunk on there because you put a transfer something upside down, what I would do is I would use an industrial hand cleaner that is non-abrasive, like Gojo was the brand that I've used in the past. And Joe asked, can this be done with all transfers? It's ink, so I would venture to say yes, with the caution of making sure you achieve that firm pressure, that medium to firm pressure that Transfer Express calls to. So it's not going to be lab certified. I think it will work. We're breaking the rules, so make sure you test one and wash it yourself and make sure you're happy. All right, going to take a couple more questions. Yeah, and working up on, Janessa asked, working on zip up hoodie the same? Absolutely. I don't know if you guys are making fun of me or excited that I'm pushing the boundaries, but either way, I'll take it. See a lot of comments around that. Wild man, what a rebel. All right. Boom. All right, and last example, and I'm going to pull up the item number for the jacket that we did, so you guys all have that here, style J850. That we're going to do here today is, see if I can find it, is this one. So we've pressed this item in the past. You may not have seen the video before. This item is from Viv and Lou, is the brand, from Wholesale Boutique. Couple concepts I want you to understand from this. Some things I know is when we're pressing things like faux leather, whether that's in footwear construction or a clutch like this or a purse, whatever it may be, I have to take some extra considerations because otherwise it will melt. And so if I were just doing a normal design on this, I would just use this flexible application pad over it that prevents it from melting. This is another item from Stalls. We press it. I try to tack it down for a little bit to get the carrier off so it doesn't indent that leather and leave an impression mark from this carrier when you're using vinyl. And then you can apply it and just add 10 more seconds to your application. That's a pretty proven application. We've done it time and time again. But I wanted to take the concept of trying to fill more of this space and get up into the seams. Same concept, to make it look like the leather was made with this design on it and then sewn to the garment, but we're post applying it to add some creativity to it. So I'm going to take this same design, this Blue Mountain Resort, which is something I could imagine that would be sold at a resort gift shop. So think about selling wholesale to boutiques. I know in our Heat Press for Profit podcast, we had a great guest, Melissa Marshall, who's part of our Facebook group that established a whole new channel for her business that was wholesale. So don't rule that out. But I'm going to take this design, I'm going to lay it here, and then I'm going to trim up the edges so it just fits perfect all the way to the edge of this leather. So scissors are your friend. Sharp scissors are the best. Just don't run with them. And trim that up, making sure I'm not going to grab the bag. Get rid of the extra piece that was trimmed off. Don't need it. This is one that if I did measure this, I'm pretty confident that the thickness of this leather is going to be the same every time. So I could have measured this and actually put this into my design considerations when I'm cutting it instead of having to do this at the press. Assuming you have consistency in your manufacturing, but for the one-off that we're doing, that's easy enough. I always like to run bag or clutch designs a little higher than lower because it's going to fill in the bottom and you're not going to see the logo otherwise. You can see it looks really cool there. Let's see if I don't ruin it. And we're going to position this down. I really won't need the pillow for this. I do have some inner seam structure and straps and things going on here that I want to get rid of to make sure this is flat. You can either split this and load it onto a platen, or you can use what's called a print perfect pad or a smaller heat printing pillow to stuff inside of it. That pillow's might be the right size, looks close to too big, so I'm just going to use the pad. In this case, it should be able to fit my whole design. I'm just going to lay that inside. Making sure I feel and I get good pressure on all the areas where my design's going to go. And my zipper's falling off the edge, so not going to cause any issues. Use that cover sheet. I'm going to work on my pressure right now because I definitely changed the thickness of what's loaded. Good. All right, so that's my preheat. And just because it was a couple seconds, I wasn't too worried about having the special cover over it. Position my design right up against the edges here. This is glitter flake, by the way, is the heat transfer material I'm using. When I'm doing applications like this, I love a good hot peel material. And so glitter flake is one of my go-tos for this. Also, fashion film is really easy for this. I'm just going to cover it with this special cover sheet. And glitter flake normally takes 10 to 15 seconds. And so since I'm using that flexible application pad, that's the name of the gray pad, I'm going to go up to a full 25 seconds, which sounds crazy like it's going to melt it. But it won't. Let me come back to you there. Before I do that, I'm going to try to get rid of this carrier. Otherwise, it's going to leave an indent mark. And so to get rid of the carrier, I'm just going to tack it down for a couple seconds because I don't want it to melt the bag. And then I will try to get a hold of this and take my time to make sure it's going to release like that from this fabric. The material kind of functions a little bit different depending on the fabric. So I got a good release with no lifting, just with those few seconds on the glitter. It looks really cool too. So you can see that. And now I'm just going to cover it with that flexible application pad, which is, if you're doing a flat based film like fashion film, it'll actually texturize it really nice too. And so now I move the location on the press. I'm going to run it for that full application of 25 seconds. So we've shared links to the glitter material, the print perfect pads, all the products. I want to thank our team who always does such a good job helping me with these because I'm a off the cuff person. So I don't do a whole lot of pre-planning with giving them the links. And so hopefully you guys are enjoying it. And Eddie, if you missed the jacket, that was our AquaTrue screen print transfer. Just remove the pad once it's completed. Make sure you don't give away your print perfect pad. And I have a completed design. That one looks pretty good too. So all the way up and even over the seam on the edge, and we're able to get something looks cool. Why are we doing this when we can just put a brand in the center? Well, it looks cooler. And frankly, people want things, brands want things that look cooler. So try to make cool looking stuff with your heat press. That's the moral of today's story. Push your limits. And yeah, that temp was, the time was 25 seconds. My temp was 300 degrees, which works just fine with the glitter flake material or the fashion film. All right, I know I said I would show some things that I didn't get to, though there is one I definitely want to show. And that's for those of you that don't order from stalls, or maybe even those of you that do, there's this little secret section up here called the artwork uploader that's going to be your key. It's right in the top right of the site. That's going to be your place to where you can access all of these products pre-cut for you. So you have to be logged in and have an account, but any of the products that we've used today, except the AquaTrue, which is sold by Transfer Express, you can log in, you can upload your artwork, and you can go through the whole process of having designs come to you just like this, so they're ready to apply, or just like this, so they're ready to apply. We do all the cutting, the weeding, the printing, the sublimation, whatever it is for you. The bag was, so your question was from Wholesale Boutique, and the brand is Viv and Lou. All right, and so we do a lot of these, and that glitter just really catches the light that I have shining here and sparkles. As always, I want to thank you all, and please join me tomorrow at 1 when we launch our latest heat transfer vinyl product, which I think is the heat transfer vinyl of the future for us. Also, where we really change the equation on what makes sense for digital screen printed transfers, give you a tool that's really going to help you benefit your business with the new product offering style from Transfer Express. And then also where we roll out some new product from Great Dane Graphics that I think you'll be interested in if you are capitalizing on the face mask, face cover business that's out there right now, especially with our premium mask. So thanks so much for attending. Hope you have a great Thursday, and we will see you tomorrow.